Hello, this is Lynn Madijan, a rather wilted Lynn Madijan with the heat that we have today. And because of that, I decided to, I made an executive decision and changed the recipe that we are going to do tonight. We were going to do ratatouille, which was out of garden vegetables and baked, and it really looks good, and I'm still going to do it at some point, but baking something in the oven for an hour today made absolutely no sense to me, and so consequently what we're going to do instead is make a chopped vegetable salad. It's easier to make a salad if you have a knife. So I'm going to be honest and upfront and tell you that none of these vegetables came out of my garden. My garden isn't producing yet, but the grocery store is, and so that's what we're using. For protein in this salad, beyond the vegetable protein that we're having, we're using garbanzo beans. And because I decided late in the day, these are canned garbanzo beans rather than ones that, dried that I keep in my pantry. So we're going to put the things in first that are going to give me a little bit more space quicker. And so we've got mushrooms, which also I don't grow, and tomatoes. And I decided instead of getting big tomatoes, since I was buying them anyway, I got the little grape-sized tomatoes because I like those. So now, for additional protein, I'm doing sunflower seeds. So we've got, there we go. And that gives us a little bit more space. Now, depending upon what vegetables you're using, some of them have to be blanched first, and some of them can be simply put in raw. I'm going to use bell pepper, and I've got red and I've got green. Now, right now at Safeway, green bell peppers are 99 cents each, and red bell peppers are 4 for $5. The yellow bell peppers were also 4 for $5. And so it is likely that what I'm going to do is go back down there and get $10 worth of bell peppers, and then go ahead and chop them up, and I'm going to probably dehydrate some of them, and others I will go ahead and just put straight in the freezer. And that way, for additional meals during the winter when you can't get these vegetables, I will already have them. So we've got, now I tend to sometimes cut my vegetables in a little bit bigger pieces than a lot of other people like, and so if you're sitting there watching me saying, good gravy, does she not know how to chop? The answer is yes, I do know how to chop, I just like them bigger. So the myth about bell peppers is if you turn a bell pepper upside down when it is, before you cut it, you look at the lobes. So this green bell pepper has 1, 2, 3, 4 lobes. Now there is a myth that is around them that says that bell peppers that have 3 lobes are male bell peppers and will be a little bit more bitter. The ones with 4 or more lobes, like this green one, is a female, and it is supposed to be a little bit sweeter. Now, in actuality, bell peppers are self-pollinated. So the flowers, they come from a flower, and the flower has both male and female parts, and so there is no way of, it's kind of luck of the draw, and there is not really a male or female bell pepper. So, at least according to the University of Iowa, because I actually looked it up. I have learned so much from doing some of these classes, because things that I have just taken for granted, I've gone ahead and looked up so that I can tell you in the event you have a question. It is, so the bell peppers and the onions, we're going to go ahead and put in on raw. Now, if you were to go out into your garden and get some string beans, those you would want to blanch, and you would want to blanch them for about 3 minutes. So boil your water, and then throw your cleaned green peppers or yellow your green beans or your yellow wax beans, and blanch them for 3 minutes. Pull them out of the hot water, the boiling water, and then put them in an ice bath, which is a bowl of water that has, of cold water that has ice in it, and let it sit. And then you want them to dry, because you don't want a lot of real wet vegetables in your salad, because the oil and vinegar dressing would not stick with it. Now, I decided to use rare ripes. These are the green onions. So that's the onion that I decided to put in. Now, I don't know if you can see, there's a white bowl here, and I'm putting all of the tops and the bottoms that I'm not going to use into that bowl. Now, I've been doing a lot of bone broth over the last 6 months or so, and I'm actually at the point now I'm going to start canning it. And it is, and I make, the way I do it is I put, in the freezer after we've eaten, I put pork bones in a bag, and then I put chicken bones in a bag. And I was invited to Marie's house for dinner last week, and we had roast chicken, and she graciously gave me the bones to make bone broth with, and I've got it cooking in the living room right now, because that's where I plugged my my slow cooker in, because I don't have space here in the kitchen to do it. It is, next up after this chicken bone broth will be vegetable broth. And I save all of these pieces of the vegetables, and I put it in the bone broth. Because even if it's ends, it doesn't matter. We're not going to eat them. We are going to strain them out after we have let it cook for, 24 to 48 hours. And so this is a real inexpensive way to get some really good vegetable broth. And then after you're done with the vegetable broth and you strained it out, that's when you put it into your compost, or you can give it to your chickens. Either works well for it. Okay, so I'm putting zucchini and yellow squash in here. And again, this you can put in raw. Peas you can put in raw. It is and corn you have to cook. So I have an ear of corn here, and we're going to go ahead and put that in this as well. And it is that I blanched for 5 minutes, and then I put it in the water bath, in the ice bath, and then I dried it. So it's sitting here for me to chop up, and I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. Probably would have been easier if I actually had sliced this zucchini in half in the beginning and then cut it. So that's what I will do for the yellow squash. Now, another thing that I think would be really good in here is olives. Now, the thing about olives, which is interesting, is olives are actually a fruit. They're not a vegetable. I didn't know what it was. And it's a stone fruit and called a drupe. So it's in the same family as peaches and mangoes and dates. And it is, but I think that it would do real well in here as well. Although I did not bring up a can of olives, so we probably won't be doing it tonight. But a little bit later in the summer when mine is going, when my garden is doing better, that is going to be, I think, on the dinner schedule. One of the things that I find interesting about me is apparently I'm a real winter kind of person, because most of the skills that I have and the dinners that I cook are all based on wintertime activities, you know, in terms of coldness and the fact that I don't want to bake for an hour. And I had to really think about, okay, so if I'm not going to bake for an hour, what do I need to put in here? What do I need to, how do I need to cook? And so if you've got some good summertime recipes that you would be willing to share, I would ask you to go ahead and throw those recipes on the page. And at the very least, I'll have a lot more different foods to eat myself. All right, now, so I'm going to cut. If I don't kill myself here, let me get a bigger knife. I'll be right back. There we go. I'm cutting the end of the corn off. And then we're going to make slabs where we cut off the kernels. Alright, so there's my corn on the cob. And then I'm going to just break these up a little so they're still slabs, but they're not giant slabs. And there is our vegetable salad. So now what I'm going to do is wash off my hands. Okay, get a whisk and a spoon. And we're going to take, for the dressing, we're going to take 2 ounces of olive oil. Two ounces. I'm using champagne vinegar. You can use balsamic vinegar. You could use red wine vinegar, depending upon what it is that you want. We're going to put in a little bit of garlic. And a dollop, which I think is that much, of Dijon mustard. And we're going to whisk it all together. And there's our dressing. Now what I forgot to put in here which is sitting right over there on my stove, is some parsley, and that's going to go there. We go. It's going to go straight in here. Now all we need to do is toss it up. And it's got a lot of pretty colors in there. You've got the reds from the tomatoes and the bell peppers. You've got the yellow from the squash and the corn. You've got white from the mushroom. You've got green from the onions and the zucchini and the bell peppers. And there we go. That's dinner and lunch for a couple of days. I'm not going to put the salad dressing on it right now because it will be lunch as well, so I'll wait and be able to put the salad dressing when I want to eat it tomorrow. How fast was this? I mean, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and it is, and I have to tell you, it looks really good. So, Saturday is Lammas, which is the harvest festival. We'll be going ahead and doing a ritual online. What you need to have, and I'll send this out tomorrow, is either corn husks that are dried. You can get those at the grocery store in the Hispanic section to make a corn dolly, or you can use pipe cleaners. And we're going to make an effigy of the spirit of the harvest. So the other thing you're going to want to do is go into your yard and see what you've got. Any kind of leaves or flowers or herbs or anything that you're going to tie to either the corn dolly or to the pipe cleaner person, and then you'll keep it on your altar until Halloween, Samhain, and at which point in time we will burn it in thanks for the abundance that we received from our gardens. And that garden can be a physical garden in your yard, or it can be the seeds that you have planted for your own personal growth. So if you don't have a garden, that doesn't mean you can't do this. It just means that what you'll have instead is the garden of personal growth. So if you have any questions, let me know. Thank you so very much for joining me today. And we'll do ratatouille as soon as the weather gets a little bit cooler and we don't have to worry about cooking ourselves as well as our dinner. So thanks for joining me. Take care and blessed be.